Hi, friends. Welcome to Daily Slow English. Today's story is called Emily's School Life in Canada. In this story, you will learn about Canadian high school life. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Hi, friends. My name is Emily. I'm 16 years old. This is my school, Maple Leaf High School. I am in grade 10 here. Today I'm happy to share my school life with you. I moved from Japan to Canada with my parents last year. Everything felt new: our home, the streets, the language, even how students said hello. On my first day of high school, I walked through the crowded hallways. Students were laughing, chatting, and opening lockers. I could hear the squeak of sneakers on the floor and smell fresh paint on the walls. I held my backpack tight and whispered to myself, "This is the beginning of my new life." English quickly became my favorite subject. I loved reading stories, poems, and plays. Out of all of them, Shakespeare's plays were my favorite. The language was old, but the meaning was deep. But speaking in front of the class was really hard for me. I could read quietly, but I was scared to read out loud. One day, I had to give a presentation on Romeo and Juliet. When I stood in front of everyone, my mind went blank. The words I practiced disappeared. I looked at my classmates, and all their eyes were on me. My heart beat fast, and my face turned hot. I wanted to hide. Then my teacher gave me a warm smile and said softly,
Take your time, Emily. We're listening.
Her gentle voice gave me courage. I took a deep breath, looked at my paper, and tried again. My hands shook, but I spoke slowly. The words came back one by one. In the end, I finished my presentation. That day, I learned something important. Courage isn't about being perfect. Courage is about trying again, even when you're afraid. Math was always tough for me. Formulas and numbers felt like puzzles that didn't make sense. One afternoon after school, I sat in the library with my homework. The room was quiet, with only the sound of pages turning. I stared at one math problem for so long. I erased, sighed, and wrote again, but still didn't get the answer. Just then, a boy from my class walked over.
Need some help?
He asked kindly. I nodded, feeling a little shy. His name was Daniel. He pulled out a chair and sat down. He explained the steps slowly and carefully. For the first time, I understood. From then on, we often studied together. He encouraged me in math, and I shared books and ideas with him. Sometimes we joked about our mistakes, and we reminded each other not to give up. When I finally passed my math test, I felt proud. It wasn't just the grade. It was the friendship that gave me strength. Science was different. I loved science, especially when we learned about the universe. The Earth, the planets, and the stars filled me with wonder. One day, our teacher showed us a video about black holes. When it finished, I raised my hand and asked, "Do you think people can live on Mars one day?" Some classmates looked surprised, but the teacher smiled. He said,
That's a great question. Emily, keep exploring.
His answer made me even more curious. I borrowed books about space from the library. I read about rockets, astronauts, and space stations. At night, I often stood outside in the cold, looking at the sky. The stars looked bright and endless. Sometimes I closed my eyes and imagined I was inside a spaceship. I dreamed of wearing a spacesuit, walking on the moon, and maybe one day flying to Mars. I also joined the school basketball team. I wasn't a strong player. I didn't score many points, and I didn't always start in games. But when I was on the court, I gave my best. I ran fast, I passed the ball, I played defense. I knew every player had a role. One game, the coach put me in during the last minutes. I got the ball and quickly passed it to a teammate. She scored, and the whole team cheered. I smiled so wide. At that moment, I understood the true meaning of teamwork. Our school encouraged us to join community service. Teachers said helping others was an important part of growing. Sometimes I volunteered at the local food bank. The first time I went, I stood quietly by the door. I didn't know how to start or what to say. My hands felt cold and I wanted to leave. But soon I found myself smiling and handing out food. The families looked tired, but when they smiled and said,
"Thank you,"
my heart felt warm. I thought, helping others doesn't only make them happy, it makes me happy too. One winter day, I helped give food to an elderly couple. Snow was falling outside, and their coats looked thin and old. They held my hands and said softly,
"You are very kind."
Their words touched me deeply. That moment stayed with me. I realized community service wasn't just a school activity. It was a way to connect with people and share love. Looking back on my first year in Canada, I see how much I've grown. I faced fear in English class. I found friendship through math. I discovered wonder in science. I learned teamwork in basketball. And I felt joy in helping others. My school life isn't always easy, but it's mine. And step by step, I'm getting stronger.
This was Emily's story about school life in Canada. At school, Emily learns, plays, and grows every day. She faced challenges, made friends, and found her dreams. I hope you enjoyed the story and learned some English too. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.